It's week 3 in the college football 2025 season, and it's a crucial week for a lot of teams. Some of these teams had big week 1 matchups. Now it's tested again. Some are facing their first big matchup of the year. This is a crucial week with monster matchups. We're going to see who teams are legit title contenders or ones that will flop and not have a good season. The first big matchup is 12th ranked Clemson versus a very dangerous Georgia Tech. It will be played in Atlanta. This is a huge game. Cade Klubnik is not living up to par, and look like Dabo Swinney is basically losing his patience with Cade Klubnik. We'll see if he can respond. The defense of Clemson is awesome. They face a big challenge versus LSU. Same thing with LSU. It's basically a deadlock with seems like two title contender teams. So it's hard to get an edge on either one, especially in week 1. How will Klubnik react? How will he react in this game? Been 2 games. He's been shaky the last 2 games. Clemson as a whole has been shaky. Good defense. Their offense has been sputtering. Is this the game that Cade Klubnik might get benched? And Hayden's King for Georgia Tech is injured. We'll see if he get to play up to par. But their backup quarterback is no slouch either. And watch out for Georgia Tech. Either they win in a close one, or Clemson probably going to win this by a blowout. We'll see. It looks like the line is 3.5 to Clemson way. It could change during the week. But Clemson is in trouble. But I'll pick Clemson to win because of the good defense they have. And Haynes King is injured. How good is the backup quarterback if he gets another start? He only got 1 start last year, and he was pretty good. He did have some time playing, but I would take Clemson. We're barely going to touch on this. Wisconsin at Alabama, and Alabama's a 20-point favorite. And where do we see this before versus Florida State? And they lost. If I was Alabama, this should be an easy win. Wisconsin is not Wisconsin back then. It looked like Luke Fickell don't know what he's doing. The quarterback for Wisconsin at the start of the year got injured. This should be an easy win for Alabama. Now, Georgia Bulldogs versus Tennessee Volunteers. This is a game that everybody's going to have their eyes on. This is Georgia's big test and first big test of the year. And let's just say this is Tennessee's second big test of the year because Syracuse got blown out by Tennessee. Let me say this. Georgia did not look good versus Austin Peay. They couldn't even get in the goal line. And Gunnar Stockton looked like he don't know how to play and looked like he's kind of having a tough start of the season. We'll see if he can progress. And Georgia defense looked the same old Georgia defense. Well, Galar, he is throwing it crazy. He is gunslinging it. And so far, he has 535 yards and 5 touchdowns already in 2 games. He is exploding. And also, the running game is not that bad either. But how will Georgia defense face Julius Aguilar? Will Gunnar Stockton keep up with the points? If it turns into a shootout, and I doubt it will, I think Tennessee will score much easier than Georgia will. And it's not because the Georgia defense is bad. It just eases Aguilar and them have more points. They can actually get the ball into the end zone, while Gunnar Stockton is struggling to get into the end zone, and the play calling is not up to par. But it's not going to be easier for Tennessee to get the ball in the end zone because of Georgia defense, but they will have a better success rate than Gunnar Stockton. Plus, it's a checker game, and it's at Knoxville. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. I will pick Tennessee to win this game. South Florida versus 5th ranked Miami. And let me just say, if South Florida beats Miami, they should be ranked number 1. Like, for no question asked. And no one should be, considering different. South Florida would beat 3 top 25 teams. First in the top 25, then in the top 15, and the top 5. If that's not number 1 material, I don't know what is. That is the hardest 3-week schedule I have ever seen in college football. And they are surviving it. Let's just say the coach of South Florida have something going. In the last 2 years, they almost beat Alabama, and they finally did it versus Florida. And now they're trying to do it in Miami. Everybody's cutting them short. And let me just say, South Florida is dangerous. I think they're a better group of 5 team than UNLV. But on the other side, Miami looks really good. In week 1, they faced Notre Dame. Oh my God. It looked like Carson Beck can throw the ball anytime he wants to. He has so much protection. Best O-line probably in college football is Miami. And their defense is not as bad as well. But let me tell you something. Carson Beck's going to probably light up South Florida than Florida did. And let me say this, but the physicality of South Florida is not going to go away. They're going to hang around. But I would take the points with South Florida because Miami's a 17.5 favorite. I will go a little bit below that, a little bit under that, because it will be a close game, and Miami needs to be watching out because, let me say, the first two teams did not take them seriously. Miami's looking at them, and they got to match the physicality. If they don't, it's going to be a very rough game for them. I think they're going to get past South Florida because of Carson Beck's arm and the good O-line. They ain't going to get to the backfield that much. But the physicality of the offense of South Florida is going to keep them in the game. Not good enough. I'll take Miami to win this game. But South Florida with the points. Now, to the Florida Gators versus LSU. And I know I'm a Gator fan, but I'm biased here as I try to be in this channel. Let me just say, Florida, this is a gut checkpoint. Yeah, you got your ass kicked by South Florida, but you look good versus Long Island. But where is the heart of the Gators now after supposedly seemed like no one cared to play South Florida? Now they do. And LSU, they're kind of stuttering. They had a big matchup versus Clemson, but they came in stuttering versus Louisiana Tech and didn't really seem impressive. LSU seemed like they're stumbling still a little bit. And will they lose to Florida again? They did it last year. I think I'm going to go out on a limb. I think the players of Florida will actually rally and leave LSU kind of confused. And this is in Death Valley at night. But I think the Gators will win because of the players, not Bill Napier. Bill Napier is not going to, let me just say, they're going to split the games in half. And what I mean is they will win versus LSU and maybe lose to Miami. Depends on how these games going. But I will not be shocked that LSU will blow them out. It is a tale of two wins. Either Florida will skirt it out or LSU will blow them out. I'm picking the Gators, but state me on the record. The only time the Florida Gators will win this game if it's a close one. If DJ Lagway do not play well and the players don't come inspired in Death Valley, LSU will blow out Florida. Now, talking about previous games we just mentioned, no one's really talking about Texas A&M, that 16th ranked versus 8th ranked Notre Dame. We already know what Notre Dame got in the first game. They were pretty dang good. One of the best games of week one, I think it's the best game of week one, was Miami versus Notre Dame. That was great. Now, we don't know much about Texas A&M. I mean, Marcel Reed, he's kind of okay. It seemed like Texas A&M has a problem with finishing people, and they don't have that edge. Yeah, and they beat UTSA 42-24. Yeah, but they let them hang around. They also do that to Utah State 44-22. They let them hang around. Almost basically the similar score back-to-back weeks. You can't do that for Notre Dame. Notre Dame's pretty dang good. They almost beat Miami. That is really, really good. So, Notre Dame, we know what we kind of have. They took a week off. Now, they're back again. They're more prepared. Well, we don't really know much about Texas A&M. So, this is a big challenge again for Notre Dame. And Texas A&M's first big challenge. Now, Reed, he's good. Last year, he was amazing. He was fun to watch. But what are we going to expect out of them? They're kind of like, stuttering around. And, yeah, Marcel Reed, 7 touchdowns, 500 yards. But you would think they'll have more points and more defense effort. And we kind of know what we kind of have with Notre Dame in a way. And is that Notre Dame? So what's going to happen here? I think Texas A&M, it seems like they cannot win a key road game. And Notre Dame couldn't rush very good versus Miami, but boy, Notre Dame's going to rush it down Texas A&M throat. Will Texas A&M defense will let them down? I think it's going to be a close game. Either it's going to be like a 17-14 game, or it could be 41-37, or it could be like 41-13 kind of thing. I cannot trust Texas A&M to win this game. I would not bet on this game because there's too many variables of the unknown with these two teams. Plus the bye week Notre Dame, they couldn't get a tune-up. This is a back-to-back big games for them. I think Texas A&M will actually win this game. I think it's going to be a shootout. And I don't think no defense will be involved in this game. I think it's going to be a key stop for Texas A&M late. And I think it's going to be probably 38 to 24 or 38 to 30 kind of game. Now to a game that no one really is talking about. No one is talking about this game. It's an undercover game. It's a really good game. And they're not talking about it much less than Texas A&M and Notre Dame. Is South Carolina and Vanderbilt is getting played in South Carolina. This game is really, really sneaky good. Diego Pavia is a winner. And he is on a mission. While Sellers, he's on a mission, but he hasn't proved to win the big games. Not like Pavia did. Pavia has that swag to him. Sellers, he's really, really good, but when it's on the line, he kind of stutters. South Carolina has a good defense. They have a common opponent in Virginia Tech. South Carolina versus Virginia Tech in week 1, well, it's week 1. South Carolina kind of stuttered versus Virginia Tech, but later kind of exposed them. Same thing with Vanderbilt in week 2. They had trouble, and then in the third and fourth quarter, they really exploded and really got after Virginia Tech and actually blew them out, about 20. So Vanderbilt is actually very vulnerable on defense. South Carolina isn't. South Carolina is very vulnerable in offense. It looked like they couldn't get off the gate versus South Carolina State, an FCS team in week 2. While Vanderbilt's throwing all over the place and running all over the place. Something's got to give in this game. Either Vanderbilt's going to push their wheel of 40-minute time of possession, or Sellers and South Carolina is going to speed up that tempo and they will blow you out. It'll be 24-7 in halftime. They have the potential to do it. And they got the defense to do it. They surely did that versus Virginia Tech. South Carolina's defense is way better than Vanderbilt's. This is going to be an issue. Either there's going to be a big blowout of like 35-10, South Carolina over Vanderbilt, or it can be a Vanderbilt win of 27-23 kind of game. But it's at South Carolina. It's at night in South Carolina. That is a big issue. Big issue. South Carolina can get crazy. And if South Carolina gets ahead of them with 17-3 going into the half, it is not good. That means you got to speed up Diego Pavia, taking his time. Now he's speeding up, and the Sailors will go and will annihilate you. Even though they had trouble in the first 2 weeks, but I think South Carolina will win this game, 31-27. I think the defense of Vandy will let Diego Pavia down, and the only way to lose. I think the Sailors will find a way. In the first half will be like probably 17-3, and they speed it up, and Diego Pavia trying to catch up. And I think it'll be too late by the time he gets his last touchdown within 2 minutes. And I think South Carolina will win this game. But no Diego Pavia slander will be tolerated. Okay? He is a winner. He is a man on a mission. He's not going to win every game, but he is a winner. No slander on his name.